Hello, hello. Welcome back to the Process Show. We're so happy to have you back with us here for another episode of growth, inspiration, and knowledge. I'm your host, Treasure Kalambe. Thank you for tuning in. I have another special guest with me today, and I think week in, week out, you'll hear me say this because the people that we really are privileged to be able to talk to are folks with so much experience, so much knowledge, and people that I really think, as you listen to them talk, will really be a great, great blessing with all the nugget that they provide to you. And today is the same thing, right? It's somebody that I've known for a very, very long time. Someone who's very skilled, very, very talented. When we were younger, we know each other so well that when we were younger, we would literally debate on almost every little thing. But it was healthy competition, wanting each other to be better, to be greater. And I'm so privileged to have him here today. His name is Jeffrey. Huh? How you doing, Jeff?
I'm doing well, man. I'm doing well. How
Yeah,
are you?
I'm doing good, man. I see you're well. You're looking healthy. You eating well, huh?
COVID times.
Co-
Let's blame it on COVID.
COVID's feeding you well.
I mean, you're staying home, not much to do, a lot. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, yeah, we're here.
Now
I see you're doing well.
you know what I mean. I'm well. I'm well.
That's good.
That whole saying in French that says "paix du cœur," sort of like peace of heart when you're
Yep.
married. So I
Yep.
think that might be it. You got
I feel that.
you got the kids running around. You got love at home,
Hey,
cook meal.
exactly.
I gotta be okay.
Nothing's wrong with that.
I gotta be okay. I was thinking when I was like, how am I gonna present this guy? What do I want to say? Because there's such a range of titles and that I could point out. So I said, you know what? I'm gonna let him do the honors because I don't want to have to miss anything. So before we even jump into the nitty gritty of stuff, just tell the folks who is Jeffrey.
It's funny you said that there's a plethora of titles because as you know, like I've went through a whole lot list of things. But anyways, I just simply digress it to being a creative director.
Mm.
I think that encompasses the multi hats that I'm
Right.
wearing. But yeah, I run a media agency. More so, we're production right now, but transitioning into doing more marketing for brands and businesses and stuff like that. So yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
So now I know if I need some marketing, I know who I'm coming after.
Exactly.
Huh?
You already know this.
And the reason I really wanted us to have a conversation because talking about process and that idea of process, your story is one that really stands out to me. And the reason it stands out is because of the process that you took to get
Right.
yourself, like you're saying, to where you are right now. And I wanted folks to be able to hear that because I feel that there's a lot of people who find themselves in that same shoe, right?
Absolutely.
Find themselves that they're doing something right now, sort of, the day-to-day grind, but it doesn't feel like it is purposeful, or it
Yeah.
doesn't feel like it's what they've been called to do or are
Right.
passionate about, but they don't know
Yeah.
how to flip that and how to switch that up. And I know at some point in time that was the case for you. Like before you started this, what were you doing before? Where were you working? What was the kind of job you were doing before that?
Everything. um, no, so as you know, we all played basketball. So
Mm.
earlier on, that was the goal to make it to the big league and all of that. So when that didn't happen, I think I went through a stage of rediscovery, of redefining who I was and
Mhm.
what I wanted to do. And within that process, I was just trying anything and everything, the 9 to 5, trying to figure out how to make money online. Of
Mm.
course, everything is legal.
Mhm.
All right. Let's just
Let's
put it
make
out
sure we
there.
say that it's legal. Okay. All right.
But yeah, I was trying to figure out what was my thing.
Mhm.
And it's funny because you talk about process, and the process, as much as people make it seem to be something so grand and difficult, it's as simple as it is as well.
Mm.
You just gotta try a bunch of stuff over
Mm-hmm.
and over and be able to know when to let go of one thing and move to the next thing.
Right.
And so that's what happened. I was working downtown, because I gotta pay bills and stuff, doing a 9 to 5. But I found my passion, which was photography, and it started with just taking some photos with some friends, close ones, and I realized like I've always had that in me
Mm.
since growing up. I think you remember I used to bring a camera with me
Yeah.
and train all
Games
the
and stuff like
time,
that. Like, what's
right?
this weirdo doing? I remember.
Right? So now looking back, I'm like, wow, this has always been part of me. So, um, so I started seeking more, looking more into that, and seeing that there was a possibility of me actually pursuing photography as a real career,
Mm-hmm.
seeing people making really good money. And right, whereas like my whole mindset was, I don't think that, like, how can I make money of just snapping a photo, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so that's the thing again about process, is understanding that your mindset has, like, you have to unlearn certain reality that you have already established or that
Mm.
was told onto you,
Right.
to really realize that anything is possible.
Mm-hmm.
If somebody else is doing it, then you can do it too.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's what I really held on to and just pursued it.
Wow, that's amazing. You have to unlearn certain things in order to be able to welcome other opportunities
Absolutely.
that you have there. And I think that's so true. And I think that's where folks get stuck, right? In sort of that unlearning process, because like you're saying, you were working other jobs and doing a bunch of other things so that, pay the bills and
Yeah.
to get through life. So what was it for you that finally said, you know what, I'm going to take this leap? Like, what did you need, or what was that turning point that gave you enough hope, inspiration to say, okay, now I'm gonna leave
Hmm.
this and focus solely um, on the thing that I'm purposeful for, and start unlearning things so that I can follow my vision? What was it for you? What was that turning point that had you leave the 9 to 5 and start this?
Um, it's realizing that time is precious. I think we have this notion of that we have time, that, oh, I can do that tomorrow, or my time will come. Um, that's just for me to like just jump straight to it. I think that was the biggest thing for me. But in the grand scheme of everything, it was just me realizing that if I didn't do it now, when will I do it?
Mm-hmm.
Right. So, and that also comes with the realization that it was possible,
Mm-hmm.
because I seen other people doing it.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So I did a lot of research, educating myself on if this was a reality, if this could really happen, and I could sustain myself, not only myself, by looking down the future and seeing that, you know, I can have a family and, get married, that whole, shebang, and, maybe purchase a home one day, like stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So when I did the research, I looked into it, I saw that it was a possibility with this career.
Mm-hmm.
So and the biggest thing is, like, I had family and just a good support system around me, that were there for me to jump forward and
And
sort of
take that leap.
exactly take
Mm-hmm.
that leap. Yeah.
And that's amazing to have that, and I hope really folks are hearing that, because I think, we assume that following our purpose and kind of getting into that process of doing something that we're passionate about, like you said in the beginning, that it is this complicating math equation that, yeah, I gotta, what am I gonna do here, what am I gonna do there, what am I, you know what I mean, and kind
Yeah.
of try to make sense of all of it, but that in reality is just that first step, right? That first step unlocks all of those other doors that you really don't know.
Absolutely. I feel like I had no idea what I was doing.
Mm.
Um, I still think I don't know what I'm doing right now. I mean, I know a little bit, you know what I
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
mean? But like I have a long way to go to be able to feel like like I know what I'm doing, you know what I mean? But all that to say, like, when I started, it was just about taking one step just taking one step at a time,
Mm.
right? At first it was, let me take a photo, and then people liked it. I'm like, okay, how can I do it better next time? And just next time, just try to improve myself, the skill set first, and then, I realized that okay, the skills was there, but now I need to figure out how to get clients, or how to make money, or how to price myself. So I took step by step while I was at work. You know what I mean? Like while I was still working, and trying to figure what I was trying to do and stuff like that. So, like you said, people are so in their mind about how is this going to work, and they want the full picture laid out for them to be able to make that step. But it's called take a leap of faith for a reason. You're going to stumble. You're going to hurt yourself from time to time. You're going to fall. Don't mean that it's a bad thing. Don't mean that it's it's all for your growth to be able to go to where you need to go, right? Like I said, like I started with photography. Now I'm more of a video production. Like it just transitioned naturally to where it's at now. So you never know where things are gonna take you if you don't take that leap.
And that's so true. And I love something you said about you don't know what you're doing, or it always feels as if that, oh my God, am I making a big mistake right now? Like I'm seeing this, and then if you'll compare yourself to others, or you'll look at others' work and others' achievement and feel like maybe I should just apply for a next job and want to do that. But that's actually a part of that journey, right? It's a part of that journey, and it comes with it. So what is it for you that when you're seeing those things, or you look at colleagues in your field and you look at people doing what you do, and kind of, doing it at a level that you're aspiring to get to, what helps you stay level-headed to not be intimidated or discouraged as you're figuring it out?
It's crazy because I have that thought at least once a month, if not once a week. Like, what am I doing? Like, am I really trying to really do this? And I've been doing this for like 4 years now, full time, right? So it's like, it's never gonna go away. And if you feel, I feel like if you feel like you're comfortable, then that's when you might rethink your process and your strategy, because my whole process is about improving and growing. And so the reason why I feel like what am I doing is because I'm surrounded by people that are better than me, that are, like you said, like, doing things that I wish, or that I'm working towards, right? And so one of the things that sort of humbles me and puts me to really take my time and see that I can still go after it is by sometimes I reach out to these creatives, and we establish a line of communication. So if I have certain questions on how this is done or this and that, they more often than not, they are really welcoming, and they're responsive on having a line of communication, and building relationships, right? That's the biggest thing. I feel like a lot of people in a creative space feel like because this person is doing this or this person is doing that, then I can't really be friends because we're competing. There's no such thing if your mindset isn't in that space. You know what I mean? Because there's abundance of work out there. So you will get to a point where you have so much work that you have to pass it on, or this work doesn't fit your genre of what you create, then you pass it on, or somebody else will be like, hey, I can't take this, are you available, if you build the relationship. So that's what has really kept me going, to be honest. Like, it's funny because like 2 weeks ago I was out of the country, and 2.5 weeks ago. And the biggest thing, like, it was out of pure pleasure, going to hang out with some old school friends and stuff. And out of that, my friend and director called me saying, hey, I got a gig for us in Dominican Republic. Are you free? I'm like, yeah. Right? And that's the thing that it wasn't planned. And this is somebody that I've known for a year and a half and we've been, from time to time we work together and stuff like that. So it's like when stuff like that happens, puts me back in that place of keep going. Always just be ready, because you never know where the opportunity is gonna come. You never know who you're gonna meet. So always treat everybody nice, and just be professional. That's really the foundation of everything. Yeah.
So what about somebody who is thinking that, right? They're like, you know what, I'm tired of my day-to-day routine and are really ready, or maybe I've already made that leap of saying I'm entering into this, deep field, and I'm just gonna do it. I'm gonna go about it. I'm gonna do it, and are unsure maybe of how to have the right type of support. Because I think about, for myself, for example, I think about even doing something like this, right? Thankfully, I want to say I have enough self-confidence in sort of trusting in my abilities. But like you said, there's always that little thought in the back of your mind. There's always that thought, there's always that worry that kind of just sits there, and you're unsure of certain things. And I think people will collapse in those moments because they don't have around them a support system that can help them, or they don't have around them the right type of mentors to guide them in that. So talk a bit about how important it is to surround yourself with the right type of mentors, with people who can not only impart in you, but also support you really in this unknown.
It's funny you say that, because now that I think about it, my journey when I started with photography was so supported by everyone. And I look back and like the images were nice, but they weren't like amazing, but they made me feel amazing. That I knew what I was doing, and that gave me that courage and that to keep going. So I feel like it's really surrounding yourself with people who are just there to support you and your desires and your dreams, and not necessarily bringing you down per se. For example, you're talking about this. You're very sharp, by the way, so I don't know. You don't have to worry about nothing. But like somebody like me, for example, who hasn't, I've had this idea in my mind of starting a podcast, but I'm holding myself back because I don't know how I'm gonna sound, or I don't know if it's gonna come out right, right? But if you just start and you do something, and you start and you see the process, and you know that you are going to get better. And it's the same process with with photography. It's the same process with everything. Anything that you desire to do, you're not gonna be the great at in the beginning, right? Unless you're just like naturally born like LeBron James. I don't know, maybe
those specimens, unicorns,
right? So, but everyone that's great at what they do put in work, right? So that's really where it comes down to. I was reading an article, or I think it was on Instagram, I don't remember, but they said that confidence comes from preparation. Right? So it's like you have to prepare and study, and right, like, so that you get to a point where when you are tested, you can perform well enough. Even though you don't have experience, you can still perform. And through performing more and more, you will gain the experience and eventually be comfortable enough in your skills
to be doing that. That's so good. And wow, such a wealth of knowledge. And we're getting close to the end, but I wanted to I wanted to give a little opportunity, and I'm hoping you'll take it, but you let me know, because I like to put people on the spot.
Of course.
But I'm hoping you'll take it. And what I want to do is, because that leap of faith, some folks won't do it because they look around and they're like, ain't nobody else do it. Ain't nobody else succeeding. Who says that if I do it, I'm going to succeed? And I think our audience is a lot of people, obviously, that I think, from our community background and so on and so forth, that obviously, know you, know who you were at least, and may not, have enough information on what's happening now. So I wanted you to just, if you don't mind, can you tell folks some of the stuff you've done? Because you mentioned it to me a little bit, and I was like, this boy just said it as if it was nothing, that he was just working for this company and that company. I was like, okay, I see how it is. But could you, what you can say, obviously, right? Could you speak a bit or brag a bit about some of your achievement, and not from just a point of boasting, but I think it's really important for folks to see that, okay, here's somebody who worked a 9 to 5 job, gave it up. Because I remember sitting downtown Toronto, and you're like, yo, bro, I'm done.
Yep, that was just like that.
And so going from giving that up, giving your full-time job up to take that leap of faith and to see the fruits of that. Can you tell folks, brag a bit, just tell us a bit about some of your achievements, and if you can talk about some future projects, tell us some of the stuff that you're working on so that people can see that it is possible to succeed if you do choose to believe in yourself.
I always like to put people on the spot, huh?
What else can I do? I try my best.
I have. How can I say this? Well, I have a website, so I think everything is on there for the most part. So Mamic.media, self plug.
Plug.
No, but I've worked with some pretty big established brands. One of the big ones has been Harry Rosen, which one of our mutual friend has shot commercial. But anyways,
Y'all famous people. It's okay.
no, it's that was an amazing project, or sort of whatever happened there. I've worked with we've so established brand more so on social media. Yeah, I don't know, man. It's just one of those things that, when you look back, you realize, wow, like you have actually done some pretty good work with some established brands. But in the moment, you're just working. You're just appreciating the opportunity to be able to create for these brands and stuff. So that has been humbling and very, a process for me to just be grateful for. Yeah, that's
he's too humble. I tried, guys. Cause there's some names in there, but I tried. Right, he's just too humble. But let's close with this then. What is something that you will tell somebody who's in the position you used to be? What would be a word of advice in closing that you would tell that person who is tired and fed up of that sort of routine and wants to take that leap? What would you tell them?
I will ask them some questions. Essentially, because this topic is very dear to me, because I feel like my whole mantra is, if you're still alive, like, start living. So if you are in a process, if you are living just to survive, is that enough for you? Or do you need more? No matter where you are, what stage in your life you're in, it's never too late to start over. And starting over doesn't mean that, you lose everything and such and that, which I know a lot of us have done. Coming from back home to starting over here in Canada, like there's a lot of stories that of people who started from zero and made it. So the biggest thing that I would say is sit with yourself and ask yourself, are you happy? And if you're not, then you have to dissect what makes you happy, and start from there, and realize that the more and more you ask yourself these questions, you will sort of dissect what are your interests, what are some of the things that you tried before that you're like, meh, and you just go with that process. And then just remember that it's a leap of faith, and you have to, first of all, have a savings account. Like, don't go out and just think that, oh, I'm going to be an entrepreneur because that's the thing to do. Like, that's just a recipe for disaster. Like, don't do that. But pursue something that you're passionate about. And if that doesn't work, that's not a bad thing. It just means that wasn't your thing. So if you continue and you go to the next thing that you're interested in, you will find that soon enough something's gonna catch on, and something that you just don't want to let go,
Mm-hmm.
and you're just gonna run with it, and things can work. Things will work out. So
Wow, wow, wow. My brother. I am so humbled. Thank you so much. You
I'm
know, I
humbled.
no, I'm
I'm
telling you, I was telling folks when I was giving them a list of the people that you know are giving me a time. I'm like, I don't deserve this little privilege. I'm like, these folks, you got to go through long lists and pay hefty prices. But so I'm just really humbled that you really came on this platform
I
to
appreciate it,
talk
man.
about your story, and I know there's so much greater things ahead. And you know, why don't you tell folks where they can follow you on Instagram, on social media, your website, so that if maybe there's a brand out there that you don't want to tell us but that wants to connect with you, they know where to find you.
Well, I have, of course, my personal page. I am Jeff David King, so it's I am Jeff David King. It's a you will know, you'll see it's a red background. You'll know. And then there's Mamic Media. It's just one word on Instagram, and then it's mamic.media for the website, to see the work that I do. Um, and yeah, if you have any questions, you can always, slide in the DMs. And yeah,
Yeah. And trust me, he will answer. He's
yeah.
really accessible in that kind of a way. Thank you again.
No, thank
And
you.
a great big thank you to everyone for tuning in once again. I'm hoping that really this conversation added a nugget into you. And like Jeff said, there's nothing to add. It's all settled on that leap of faith. You know, if you feel it, you sense it, it's in you. And, you know, your status quo right now just is not kind of fitting that mold anymore. Take a risk on yourself. You know, you're the greatest investment that exists in the world. So
Well
there's
said.
never a bad investment when you're investing in yourself. All right. Hope you're well. Stay tuned. Make sure you subscribe and make sure you share this with friends and family. You could really be helping somebody else who needs to hear about their own process. I'll catch you on the next show. Take care.